In the headlines, gunmen released 4 abducted students of Zamfara State College of Health Technology, Safi. Families of victims of Abuja Kaduna train attack lament federal government's nonchalant attitude towards rescue of their loved ones. Nigeria to conduct population and housing census in 2023. And on the foreign scene, more than 150 Palestinians injured in clashes with Israeli police at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Updates. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining. And now the news in detail. Over 1,500 children have been kidnapped by notorious groups in Nigeria since the abduction of over 270 Chibok schoolgirls by Boko Haram 8 years ago. This is according to a human rights group, Amnesty International.
The report said Nigeria is failing to protect vulnerable children by refusing to respond to alerts of impending attacks on schools across the northern part of the country. Director, Amnesty International Nigeria, Osai Ojiho, in a statement on Thursday, faulted Nigerian authorities for failing to learn from the Chibok incident by preventing further crimes. The Nigerian authorities have remained shockingly unwilling to investigate these attacks or to ensure that the perpetrators of these callous crimes face justice. Every fresh attack is followed by further abductions that deprive school children of their right to liberty and leave victims' families with no hope of accessing justice, truth, or reparations. Adding that Nigerian authorities must urgently comply with the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, to which it is a state party. Nigeria must take concrete steps to prevent the abduction of children and ensure that those suspected of these crimes should face justice in fair trials, and also rescue the hundreds of children who remain in at large.
And families of kidnapped victims of the March 28 Abuja Kaduna train attack have accused the Nigerian government of abandoning their loved ones in the hands of terrorists. The distraught family members, who could not hold back their emotions, said no government official had reached out to them since the tragic incident. The group accused the President Buhari's government of abandoning the victims to the abductors. Speaking on behalf of the families at a press conference on Thursday in Abuja, a family member could not hold back her tears in her appeal to Nigeria's federal government.
Our brother that is shot in his leg, that there is no any treatment. It's on the video plate. The president, please watch it. Look at it. Look at it from the humanitarian angle. Please, we're begging you, Mr. President. Please come to the rescue of our family members. Come to the rescue of your citizens. Come to the rescue of your children, of your son, of your wives. Please, Mr. President, do something. Please. Please. Please, we're begging. Please look at us. Just, you know, what would that be? Or are you going to talk about the psychological trauma these people can go through and you may never get themselves back? Please. Please. We are not ready to lose more lives. Lots of lives are already lost on the train. And lots of people are injured and still in the hospital. Some are still dying. Mr. President, President Muhammad Buhari, I, as one of the people that come on forefront to campaign for you and vote for you and mobilize for you, I'm begging you today, please, show us mercy. Show us mercy. Show us mercy, please. Please, we're begging you. I'm calling on the President Muhammad Buhari to come to our aid. President Muhammad Buhari, please come to our aid and rescue, please. Thank you.
4 students of a College of Health Technology, Safi, who were abducted last Wednesday have been released. And Deputy Provost of the college, Jamil Lawal, confirmed the release of the 4 students to Premium Times in a phone conversation Thursday night. It could be recalled early Wednesday morning, 13th April, unknown gunmen attack an off-campus female dormitory of College of Health Technology in the outskirts of Safi and abducted 5 female students. One of the students escaped while the gunmen were leading them into the forest. And the United States Department has cleared the sale of 12 AH-IZ Cobra attack helicopters to Nigeria worth nearly $1 billion, apparently after the United States lawmakers lifted objections over human rights concerns. The Defense Security Cooperation Agency on Thursday announced the sale of the helicopters and related defense system to the Nigerian military. And there's report that there is tight security in the Lekki-Ikoyi link bridge on Friday morning as Lekki Concession Company put machineries in place to resume tolling at the bridge. Daily Trust reporter who was at the bridge this morning reports that there's heavy security there. No fewer than 5 police patrol stationed at strategic locations of the bridge to prevent any breakdown of law and order. Officials of the LCC were in various corners of the tolling corridor as vehicles were seen passing the bridge. It was learned, however, that contrary to an earlier announcement, payment of tolling using the upgraded electronic tag introduced by the LCC would commence today. And Nigeria is to conduct its population and housing census either in March or April 2023. But prior to this, a pilot census will be conducted in June this year, immediately after the political parties have completed their primary elections to produce a candidate for 2023 general elections. A chairman of the National Population Commission, NPC, Nasir Isa Akwara, announced this on Thursday after a meeting of the Council of State presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House in Abuja.
The census is a very important exercise as data generated from it can be used for planning, policy generation and development by the 3 tiers of government and even the private sector. Chairman of the MPC says census data presently available will not effectively serve this purpose because it is obsolete.
We're going to employ technology right from the field and then the storage, processing and dissemination. So it is something that will promote accuracy. It will eliminate delays in the conduct of the census.
Meanwhile, President Buhari will meet service chiefs on Tuesday to discuss suggestions from governors and other stakeholders at the Council of State meeting on food security. Governor of Jigawa State, Abubakar Badaru, explained that the president is concerned about the availability of food.
The suggestion by Kano was to also increase the support in agriculture in states that or areas that we have relative peace so that we'll continue to boost our food security. But it was rarely observed that there is available of food in the country, but only the cost, which is a worldwide affair.
Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, says 159 convicted Nigerians have been granted pardon based on recommendations of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Prerogative of Mercy. He, however, says that the requests of 3 convicts were rejected in order not to condone malfeasance.
So only 3 people were rejected by the council arising from the advice given to the president, and in effect 159 people were granted pardon, mercy, clemency, respite, reduction in term, among others.
So, National Government Ernest Shunekon, who died on the 11th of January 2022. This is the 4th National Council of State meeting the President will chair since October 21, 2015. Other meetings were held on September 7th, 2016 and August 2020. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break, a look at how deforestation attracts global warming. This and many more shortly. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Trust TV News Update. But before we proceed, a look at our top stories. We told you that abducted students of the Zamfara State College of Health Technology, SAFE, have been released. And the families of victims of Abuja Kaduna train attack accuse federal government of abandoning their loved ones. And to other stories, deforestation can be seen as one of the major causes of global warming, and it is happening in key emerging economies like Nigeria. It is for this and other reasons that Nigerian government set up policies to address the problem of deforestation in the country. Kabir Lawal reports that despite policies introduced, deforestation in Nigeria persists. The report.
Cut one tree down, plant 5 is one of the policies of deforestation in Nigeria. However, that is not the case today. People are cutting down trees daily as wood is used for various reasons and it is part of our daily lives. But as for companies as individuals cut more trees to make room for agriculture and industries, the whole planet suffers the after effects. Between year 2000 and 2005, Nigeria had the highest rate of deforestation in the world, a situation that is worrisome to stakeholders as it can lead us to loss of ecosystem, loss of biodiversity, land degradation and soil erosion, among other things. In the 1950s through 1980s, large areas of land were reserved as protected areas, growing species of plants, but that is no longer obtainable in most areas. Research shows that if people in the country continue cutting down trees at the current rate, the forest may reach its breaking point. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now to the National Assembly, where the Nigerian Senate has received the money laundering and terrorism prevention bills transmitted by President Muhammadu Buhari for expeditious consideration and passage. The bills were accompanied by a letter read at the start of plenary on Thursday by the Senate President Ahmed Lawan. President Muhammadu Buhari in the letter said request for passage of both bills is in pursuant to the provisions of Section 58 subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. He explained that the deficiencies in the country's anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism regime make it imperative for the quick passage of the bills. And meanwhile, the President, Muhammadu Buhari, has also transmitted the Money Laundering and Terrorism Prevention Bills 2022 to the House of Representatives for consideration and passage. Deputy Speaker of the House, Idris Wase, read the letter for the two pieces of legislation at Thursday's plenary. Take a look.
In the letter, President Muhammadu Buhari said the bills seek to address the deficiencies in the Nigeria's anti-money laundering and terrorism laws to meet contemporary demands and global practices.
Following the evaluation, the Ministry of Justice and other relevant stakeholders reviewed said deficiencies and drafted the Money Laundering Prohibition Bill 2022 and Terrorism Prohibition Bill 2022. Unless these deficiencies are addressed promptly by the National Assembly in order to bring the legal regime in conformity with Financial Action Task Force recommendations, Financial Action Task Force recommendations, Nigeria will face the risk of negative public statement, blacklisting the country by Financial Action Task Force, and this will lead to some negative consequences to our rapidly growing economy.
The House of Representatives also amended the 2022 appropriation at plenary on Thursday. The House passed the bill amending the 2022 Appropriation Act, which approved 4 trillion naira for subsidy on premium motor spirit and approved the upward review of police salaries to 182 billion naira. The approvals are sequel to the President's request submitted to the House last week seeking adjustments to the 2022 fiscal framework.
I rise to move that this House, as directed by the Speaker, do move to executive session, and subsequently Committee of the Whole and Committee of Supply to consider reports. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so concurrently move.
Chairman, House Committee on Appropriations Mukhtar Batera told House correspondents that the adjustments became expedient to address some socio-economic challenges facing the country today.
And lawmakers are set to relocate from their main chambers to temporary venues for plenary as renovation of the National Assembly complex begins. This was disclosed in a statement by the Special Advisor Media and Labour to the Clerk of the National Assembly at Disoro, Austin. The contractor has 16 months to execute the job with alternate arrangements in place for the plenary. Members of the House of Representatives are expected to utilize the halls on the first and second floors of the House of Representatives' new building. There's also a plan to use the teleconferencing technology to link all lawmakers who may not be able to find seats in the committee room. And away from the National Assembly, the National Orientation Agency, NOA, says it is partnering fact-checking platforms as part of effort to tackle the menace of fake news in the country. Such platform, the NOA said, include the FUDA, Center for Journalism and Innovation Department, Tambrook iHub Multiverse, as well as Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. At a 3-day capacity building course for selected ministries, departments and agencies, the NOA said the misinformation through fake news is believed to be responsible for some of the security challenges and misconception and misinformation decisions on issues of national concerns by citizens. Trust TV's Aisha Saliu filed in this report.
The rise of digital media over traditional media has come with issues of lack of verification, authenticity, and fact-checking of information disseminated across news platforms. The Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Garba Abari, and other stakeholders say proliferation of fake news in Nigeria has called for the need to train 37,000 Nigerians drawn from ministries, departments, and agencies, especially as the country counts down to the 2023 election.
The media, civil society, state and the non-state actors, and indeed all stakeholders in the Nigeria project to work collectively to defeat fake news, hate speech, and the emergence of violence at home.
As a practitioner in the defense and security sector, we recognize that fake news today is one of the greatest threats to our coexistence and national security.
A leader will always be available to collaborate and join any body, government, private association, individuals to ensure that we use the internet safely for the progress of Nigeria.
This goes to underscore the evolving nature of the digital media cyberspace and its correlation to policy making and national security.
Representatives of fact-checking partners at the National Fact-Checking Course 5, who lauded the leadership of NOA for tackling misinformation and disinformation, noted that fake news undermines journalistic norms.
And we hope, as the National Security Director mentioned, that the federal government will truly take this fact-checking and provide the necessary government support to enhance beyond 37,000.
Fake news, I like to say, is a crime that all of us have committed at one point or the other. I mean, all of us have received false information, all of us at one time or the other acted on false information, or inadvertently even spread false information to people.
The capacity building is in continuation of the task of training 1,000 fact-checkers in each state, including the FCT, over a period of 5 years in NOA's 5-year strategic work plan. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now to the education sector, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has accused the federal government of intentionally delaying the signing and implementation of the 2020 renegotiated agreement, as well as the deployment of University Transparency and Accountability Solution, UTAS, as a payment platform. The union also alleged that the National Information Technology Agency, NIDA, policy was a tool set up by the federal government to blackmail the union's struggle and to put UTAS in a bad light. The report.
Addressing newsmen at ASU Secretariat of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, the ASU Owerri Zonal Coordinator, Uzo Onyebinama, noted that among the outstanding issues yet to be addressed in the 2020 Memorandum of Agreement is the acceptance and signing of the renegotiated 2009 FGN ASU Agreement, which embodies the conditions of service for academic staff in public universities.
If NIDA is speaking of fight with ASU for declaring that the promotion and appointment of the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy to the rank of professor by the Federal University of Technology Owerri was unmerited and without due process, it should come clear. That announcement by NIDA was to blackmail the union and put UTAS in bad light. By that act, NIDA has sabotaged the efforts of its principal, the federal government, to resolve the issues surrounding the lingering strike.
Onyebinama will lamented the proliferation of private universities, also called on the National Universities Commission, NUC, to review its laws to control the establishment of universities in the country, and faulted federal and state governments over the poor financing of existing public universities.
It's not about opening new universities. It's about funding, and sustaining those universities. If they fund the existing universities and expand their facilities, the existing universities can absorb whatever students these universities will take.
And now the board of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has expressed satisfaction with the progress of work done in the Ajokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline project. The group managing director, NNPC Mele Kyari, while on tour with board members on Thursday at the Abaji sites, said he believed that by the first quarter of 2023, the target to begin to deliver pipeline gas from Kaduna to Kano will be met. Kyari, who described the Kaduna-Kano pipeline as a signature project, said it was time for Nigeria to take advantage of having the highest gas reserves in Africa. And on the international scene, more than 150 Palestinians have been injured in clashes with Israeli police at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem. Israeli police said officers entered the site after coming under attack with fireworks, stones, and other objects. 3 Israeli police were hurt. One 17-year-old Palestinian wounded on Thursday during an Israeli operation in the area of Jenin in the northern West Bank died on Friday, the Palestinian Health Ministry has disclosed. More than 20 Palestinians, many identified as gunmen, have been killed since Israel stepped up sweeps in the West Bank, centering on Jenin district after a Palestinian killed 3 Israelis in Tel Aviv last Thursday. And that brings us to the end of the news updates at this hour. For more, please follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for watching.